Inkatha Freedom Party in Gauteng is launching its manifesto this morning, a week after its national manifesto was launched. The Gauteng leg says the manifesto is solutions-driven after extensive consultation with community structures. In 2019, the party announced that it had grown by more than 200 new members who joined from other political parties. The IFP has also previously entered into a coalition with the ANC in Johannesburg, Ekurhuleni and Mogale City. The launch will take place at the Five Roses Mofolo Ground in Soweto, where party national leader Velenkosi Hlabisa will address proceedings. Joining us now to discuss further, we are joined by IFP MMC for Housing in Joburg, Councillor Mlungisi Mabaso. Very good morning to you. Thank you so much for your time. A lot lined up this morning. We heard the bulk of the 10-point plan last week when the national election manifesto was brought out. Support and growing a support base were some of the key elements that stood out in the national manifesto launch. What's the focus when it comes to the Gauteng leg?
Well, thank you very much for having me in the show, and greetings to the viewers at home. The approach will be the same. The president will start by outlining the achievements of the party in the city of Johannesburg and in the Mogale City as the demonstration that we deliver on our commitments, and we are able to honor our commitments to the residents when we have been afforded an opportunity to serve. So what is going to be on top of the list, even here in Johannesburg, is the issue of good governance, because there is nothing that you can really do if your governance side point of view is not that of a good governance. So those are the first thing that is going to address, where we will be looking at the issue of curbing the scourge of corruption within the municipalities, where he will be speaking on strengthening accountability, where we are going to involve residents more in terms of accountability, because we feel that our processes in governance must be transparent for everyone to see the processes that we are running as municipalities. And of course, to establish the transparent system for all the residents to be abreast of all the issues and the programs of the municipality. It will also speak of the establishment of specialized court to deal with corruption. And then further, after that, he will also speak to the issues of local economic development, where we are saying as the party now, because Gauteng is a province where you've got 3 metros, and they've got access to a lot of grants rather than other local municipalities in other provinces. So here in Gauteng, where you've got Ekurhuleni, City of Tshwane and City of Johannesburg, so we are saying we need to use our infrastructure grants to empower our local economy in terms of providing and creating jobs, in terms of infrastructure investment, where we are saying all those that are within townships that are running small businesses, they must be assisted to have access to grants and funds of local small businesses within our townships. And also, it also speaks on the empowerment of SMMEs, to say that when you invest in an infrastructure within the wards, within the municipality, then how do we empower SMMEs, and how do we make sure that people are given equal opportunity to access those opportunities in the big companies? And he is also saying in the manifesto that municipal entities and implementing agents must first source material in local businesses before they could even go outside of the municipalities of the ward, or before they could even look at the bigger manufacturing companies.
Let me ask you this. The IFP has spoken about some of the major difficulties in securing an outright majority in key metros. And as far as I understand, the discussion around coalitions is something that is off the table for now, up until the outcome is announced. Let's talk about some of these big challenges here and the difficulties within the coalition system.
Well, let me first indicate that for the first time, the IFP in the city of Johannesburg is contesting more than 115 wards for the first time, because this time we are contesting to win. We are not just contesting to be part of council, we are contesting to win. Secondly, at Ekurhuleni, we are also contesting majority of the wards because we want to increase our support base in Ekurhuleni. We had previously had 2 seats in council because in 2016 we experienced challenges where most of our candidates were disqualified. City of Tshwane this time around, and I can tell you, we are going to get seats in the city of Tshwane. So those are those challenges that we experienced and encountered previously. We have managed to mitigate against them by increasing our support base, making sure that the party is represented in majority of corners within these areas. Because we have come to realize now that without the IFP in these municipalities, there is no stability. You see, it's one, there is no IFP in council and there is no stability. You see, Mfuleni, there is no IFP. The municipality has forever been under administration. So we are saying we owe it to the residents of Gauteng for the IFP to be represented in council so that we are able to bring in stability into all those municipalities. And you know, addressing one event to the people of Tshwane, I said to them, we apologize as the IFP for not being able to be part of government in Tshwane because we would have been able to bring in stability.
What do you think the problem is when it comes to the IFP? I mean, the IFP has been around for a long time, more than 45 years. You know, it's part of formal politics for that length of time. Where is the IFP missing the boat here? Because this time around, there is a lot to benefit from. I mean, your leader spoke about how the IFP can help South Africans escape the nightmare of the ANC. In some ways, the IFP may have more to gain than the other parties, but when it comes to the exclusion of other voters based on ethnicity, you, an IFP member, you speak isiZulu, and you're from KwaZulu-Natal, the IFP has made some ground in Gauteng, but in very small areas, as you speak of. Surely the ethnicity problem, being Umzulu, KwaZulu-Natal, is one that the IFP is essentially shooting itself in the foot.
Well, that was a narrative that was driven in the past to categorize IFP as a political organization of a certain ethnic group, of which it has not been a case. And we have tried, in fact, to mitigate against that, if I may put it in that way, because the IFP has had previously an SG who was from Limpopo, Velenkosi Hlabisa, she was also an MP. The IFP has been represented in Limpopo. We had previously had councillors in Limpopo. We are contesting Northwest as we speak. We are contesting in Free State as we speak. Even here in Gauteng, the chairperson of the Youth Brigade, she's originally from Venda. She's Venda. She's not Zulu. You know, so we've got a lot of people who are members of the IFP who are not necessarily from KwaZulu-Natal and who are not Zulu-speaking people. And we have tried to introduce IFP in other areas where it is not dominated by Zulu-speaking people. Shawela in Johannesburg, we are contesting. In Tshwane, there are no much of Zulu-speaking people there. We are contesting and we are confident that we are going to get seats. If you go to the West Rand, the Mogale City, we are contesting and we have an MMC as we are currently speaking in Mogale City. So the IFP has made inroads in all other areas. And when the president, VF Hlabisa, was elected, he introduced a program that was called City to City and Province to Province, where he visited all the cities in South Africa, where he visited all 9 provinces, as a demonstration that the IFP is not an organization of KwaZulu-Natal, or is not an organization of the Zulu-speaking people, but is an organization for everyone.
I hear you. I hear you. You speak about this new change and being aware of what you may be associated with as a party. But currently, on the T-shirts of the IFP, you bear the face of Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi and not Inkatha Hlabisa. Surely that is now a reminder of who the party stands for and who it represents when it comes to ethnicity. Why is Inkatha Hlabisa's face not on the T-shirts of the IFP?
Well, the National Campaigns Committee, in fact, adopted the resolution of the National Executive Committee. Because at the beginning of this year, the President, V.F. Hlabisa, dedicated this year in the honor of His Excellency. And then we said, because it is his year in the organization, we are celebrating his legacy in the organization. Then these elections will be also be dedicated to his service in the organization and his service to the people of South Africa. So that's why we have decided to use his face as part of honoring his service, his commitment, and that he's is the founder of the organization. So in the upcoming elections, we are going to use the face of the sitting president. But because this year was dedicated to the founder of the organization, we said as part of celebrating his legacy and as part of honoring his commitment to the people of South Africa, let's use his face in this election. So there is nothing beyond that. It is part of honoring his legacy within the party, and it is part of celebrating his legacy because this year has been dedicated to him.
Is that not a concern when it comes to the refreshing of the IFP as you speak of now, the strides that you're taking? Because as we speak, there are still no concrete signs of that the IFP is about to garner this major leap in support. When the opportunity is ripe, there is leeway for the IFP to gain, but because of this impression that the party is not moving away from its founder, is that not a concern?
Well, we are not going to move away from our founder because, remember, he's the founder of the organization. Yes. So whether you like it or not, the IFP will forever be linked to His Excellency, the Prince of Wapindangene, because he's the founder of the organization. But the reality is that the ground is fertile for the organization. The residents on the ground have welcomed the sitting president of the IFP, and they are quite happy to see him on the ground. He is leading the campaign. He is here in Gauteng to deliver the manifesto of the party here in Gauteng, not the prince of the founder of the organization. So he's the one who's leading the election campaign. So he's on the ground. He's the face of the organization because he's on the ground leading. As much as we are using the face of His Excellency in the billboards and on the T-shirt, but the reality is that the campaigns are being led by the president, the sitting president, and he's on the ground, and people have welcomed him, and people have welcomed the IFP, and people have their confidence in the IFP. Even yesterday, he was doing door-to-doors here in Gauteng. I was with him. I went to Ward 38 Dube, where I reside, where we were doing door-to-door, and people, they were very happy to see the IFP on the ground. And people, they have accepted the IFP as an alternative, organization that can assist them in addressing all these service delivery challenges that they are facing.
Mlungisi, very lastly, you're the MMC for housing in Johannesburg. Housing is a bone of contention, a major problem, especially in Alexandra, and or the rise in backyard dwellers during the COVID-19 pandemic has also been something that's exacerbated the situation. What's the game plan when it comes to housing?
Well, there's one thing that we recognized when we came in, that the housing is a challenge in the state of Johannesburg, and with the current delivery pace, we are not going to reach a maximum target of providing majority of our residents with houses. Hence, then we deemed it necessary to introduce other programs so that we are able to address the issue of housing backlog. Currently, we've got more than 42 informal settlements that we are upgrading, where we are providing them with basic services like water, electricity. It's not temporary, it's permanent electricity, it's water, it's access road. We are taking stand, we are giving them stand, we are going to give them ownership.
Which areas is this?
And the last phase of that will be the construction of RDP houses into their stand. Go to Cape Town right now, we have started with that program. Go to Matholesville, we have started with that program. Rugby Club, we have started. Triangle in Alexandra, we have started. There are quite a lot. Naledi Camp 1 and Naledi Camp 2, Region G, we have started. So in all regions, Even if you go to Princess Plot, the contractors are on the ground. And we are also doing hostel redevelopment because, you know, hostels, they are in a prime land, one. Secondly, we've got quite a huge space within hostel that can accommodate the residents and people from outside hostel. So we have started with that program as well, and we have put in more resources into our mega projects so that at least they are able to deliver more than what they are currently delivering, because currently the city is delivering 3,000 units and not above that. And hence we said to them, no, let's put in more resources so that we are able to deliver more units per financial year. At Flare-Off, when we came in, we discovered that there were more than 1,000 units, which even today they had not been allocated because of the issue of electricity. So the Department of Housing, for the first time, decided then to make provision for the construction of a substation. And I went for an oversight visit this week earlier to check on the progress, and I was quite happy because they are towards the end of completion. Okay. But we have made provision.
We're going to have to leave it there. Okay. Thank you so much for your time. Joburg Councillor, MMC for Housing in Joburg for the IFP, Mlungisi Mabaso, detailing some of the plans that are lined up when it comes to the Gauteng leg of the IFP's election manifesto being delivered this morning.